Well, several of Trump's new moves are linked to foreign policy, and we're going to talk more about that now with France 24's Andrew Hilliar. Andy, talk us through the biggest global changes Trump made yesterday, starting with pulling out of the Paris Accord, the climate agreement, again.
Yeah, Jeannie, I mean, this move broadly reflects Trump's pro-fossil fuels agenda, his pro-drilling agenda, his promises to boost oil and gas drilling that he made repeatedly throughout his campaign, and also reflects his skepticism of global warming, despite clear evidence that shows that the increase in extreme weather events that we're seeing is related to climate change. Now, as you mentioned there, this is indeed the second time that Donald Trump has done this. However, this time round, it should only take 1 year to take effect, which means we're going to see the results of this far quicker than the first time round. And it puts the US, or it will put the US in a group of countries that includes Iran, Libya and Yemen, countries outside the Paris deal. Now, it is a very big move. It removes effectively the world's biggest historic emitter from the deal. If you just look at these figures, you can see that. They show these figures, the cumulative CO2 emissions since 1750, the US far on top, China catching up. So this is why many people are so shocked that the US has taken the decision to remove itself from the Paris climate deal. China is, in terms of annual emissions, the world's biggest emitter. The US is in second place. Now, remember that this is a deal in which governments agreed to limit global warming to a rise of 1.5 degrees Celsius. Now, evidence shows that we may already be fast approaching that point. And the latest UN report says that we're on track to hit a rise of 3 degrees Celsius. So very bad news indeed for proponents of multilateralism. Joe Biden said he wanted the US to be a world leader in the fight against climate change. Donald Trump is basically withdrawing the US from that fight. And, well, that could leave countries such as China perhaps an opportunity to step in.
Now, Andy, another move on the global scene from Donald Trump yesterday was pulling the United States out of the World Health Organization. What kind of impact is that going to have?
Well, indeed, this is the second time that Trump has moved to withdraw the US from the body. Now, his executive order basically lays out how that withdrawal could happen. In that executive order, he complains that the US pays too much and that China doesn't pay enough. And now what Trump needs is approval from Congress, and he can go ahead with this. Now, why does it matter? Well, because the World Health Organization coordinates the world's responses to global health threats such as Mpox, Ebola and polio, for example. Helps distribute vaccines as well. It helps poorer countries fight disease. And the US has historically been one of the World Health Organization's biggest donors. So this is very bad news for the body, and pulling that plug on its funding could have severe consequences. It means that we're going to see perhaps several global health initiatives crippled. It could leave poorer countries more vulnerable to health scares. That will have knock-on effects for other countries too, because it means that diseases are far more likely to spill over borders, and that could make a pandemic more likely. Essentially, moves like this are losses to multilateralism. When it comes to pandemics, we know that multilateral cooperation is essential. We saw that the last time round. One more point: the World Health Organization is currently overseeing talks between countries to come up with a new global pandemic treaty. Those talks have been painstakingly difficult, and this move certainly won't help those talks advance.